Okay. So we will go ahead and get started. So first off, thank you all for jumping on. My name is Brandon Jones. I'll tell you a little bit about me. So I run and operate two IV therapy clinics. One is in Amarillo, Texas, which if you don't know where that is, it's top of Texas, up there in the middle of the box, about an hour and a half away from Lubbock, Texas Tech area. And then we have another one that is in Weatherford, Texas, just outside of DFW. I reside in just outside of Fort Worth in Aledo. We have been operating the one in Amarillo since 2017, and then we opened the other one in beginning of 22. I got together with Dr. Drollinger, and we talked about starting a business to help others, nurses, as well as some NPs to start their own IV therapy business. So that's where this bred from, and that's what our goal now is to work through that process, to help nurses become compliant, because it's a very gray, murky area when dealing with the medical. You all know that. You all have different experiences. But that's just a little bit about us. Here in a second, Jeremy will take over and kind of talk through that. I know there'll be a few questions, but he'll talk through the process, talk about what it is to be compliant, and how we run Premier IV Startup in our business to keep you compliant. And I'm sure there'll be some questions. So we're only going to be here about 40 minutes. So let's let him get through most of it. And then as you have questions, you can jump in and he will answer those questions. So Jeremy, if you want to take over, tell a little bit about yourself, and then we can talk about the process.
All right. Thanks, Brandon. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. All right. So I'm Dr. Drollinger. I live in the Houston area of Texas. I have been doing my own mobile IV therapy, concierge medicine business for about a year and a half now, almost 2 years. Again, down here in the Houston area. I've loved it. I've enjoyed it a lot. I think it's a great area to be in. I think there's a lot of advantages to having, an IV therapy business. One being you get to, reach people that you wouldn't otherwise reach, doing a mobile. I mean, you can have a brick and mortar. But, if you offer, mobile service or mobile service additionally, to your brick and mortar, then you can reach a lot of, other people that you wouldn't otherwise be able to reach. I did my residency in pediatrics at UTMB in Galveston. And so did my wife. My wife is also a physician. And as soon as I finished with residency, I started, my own home business, mobile business. And we did that to keep our son out of daycare. We know how horrible daycare is. So we had to come up with something to be able to do that. And I found it with the IV, therapy business. So, again, another advantage to kind of owning your own company. You get to kind of pick and choose when you want to work. So that's always a great thing too. I also started to do some cosmetics, and that's something that, an option that, y'all are able to have as well, as offering, the IV therapy side of things. I started doing cosmetics, so Botox, Kybella, filler. I started doing that about 8 months ago, 6 to 8 months ago. And again, it's just another way to reach more people, another source of revenue, that kind of thing. So those are options, as well. I know maybe you've just thought about IV, therapy, but this is another option to think about, adding some services to your repertoire. And so we'll kind of talk a little bit about both, how to get started with both. let's see, a little bit more about me. I am married, have one son. He is 14 months, name is Grayson, and one on the way. We are due in June 21st. So my life will change a little bit in June, be a lot more busy having another boy. But that's just a little bit about me. I'm more than happy to answer any other questions y'all have. Whenever it's time for y'all to ask. So let's see. The IV therapy world is great because the profit margins are wonderful. Medication is fairly cheap whenever you look at everything, and compare it to what people charge for those IV therapy services. So that's obviously a good thing. So good for you, good for everybody that you're going to work with. Just because you have a lot of room to work with, you can offer discounts or and each area is different. So you have to kind of look in the area where you are to see what other businesses are offering as far as prices, specials, that kind of thing, and be competitive in your area. But the profit margin is really good, and so you have a lot of wiggle room to do that kind of stuff. One of the things that you have to do in order to be compliant in Texas is you have to have a medical director that oversees your company and provides all of the medical direction, the protocols, all that stuff. So that is kind of where we come in. That's where we want to help you. So we, obviously provide you with my direction, the protocols that we've come up with, help you with any questions, any, how do I get started? How do I run this? How do I run that? So that's one thing that you'll need to be to have in order to be compliant here in Texas with the IV therapy business. And also if you decide to do cosmetics with the cosmetic side of things. And again, that's just to comply with state law. So IV therapy is considered a medical practice. Essentially, you're doing medical procedures. And so in order to do any medical procedures in Texas, again, you have to be working under the license of a licensed physician in Texas. So don't just try and go out there and do this on your own. You might be able to get away with it for a little bit until someone finds out, and then the Texas Medical Board is going to be coming after you, or the Texas Board of Nursing is going to be coming after you. Somebody's going to be coming after you for not being compliant with Texas law. Another thing that we like to implement is something called an MSA, and that stands for kind of a managerial service agreement. So that agreement, some of you may have heard about this before, but if not, I'll kind of explain the gist of it. So an MSA is something that an agreement that you would make. It's a contract agreement that you would make with myself and your LLC company. And what this MSA allows is for you, the nurse, or actually you're not going to be working as a nurse in the capacity of the MSA. So your business, your LLC, is going to be running the business side of your IV therapy business. So the marketing, the advertising, the payroll, all of those things that aren't considered, medicine. So obviously with any business, there's right the business side of things, and then there's with the medical side, there's a medical side of things in the business. So the MSA gives you the ability to operate and perform all of those non-medicine things. And that's what that MSA is. Then there's another agreement, working agreement between the medical director and you as a licensed nurse or paramedic. And that gives you the ability to perform the medical side of things. So if you wanted to do this on your own, right, you don't have anybody else working for you, it's just you either offer mobile services, and you, again, it's just you, then this gives you the ability to kind of run everything. By having that MSA, you run the non-medical side, and then having the working agreement with me as a medical director allows you to run the medical side of things. With that, again, we still have to be compliant with all of Texas laws, right? So all the protocols, right, have to come from me. All of the informed consents, the patient consents, all of that stuff has to have, will have my company name on it, because you're working technically under my license. You can advertise with your company name. So if, Beth's IV therapy service, it's just a name, whatever you want to call your company, right? That's how you can advertise with your company, right? But all of the consents, everything is going to have my name on it, again, because you're working underneath me, and I'm technically responsible for all of those patients. They're technically my patients. I'm overseeing you. I'm delegating to you, a nurse or a paramedic, to perform those procedures, to perform that IV insertion, to perform that IV therapy. And so these are technically my patients, that I am fully responsible for. So those are the two things that we like to have in place: the MSA, and then just a regular working agreement between a medical director and a nurse or paramedic, whatever license you have. In Texas, you can do cosmetics without a nursing license or a paramedic license or anything. Anybody can do cosmetics. But I rather work with nurses, paramedics, somebody with a license, somebody with some medical experience. In order to do IV therapy, you have to be a licensed professional, so either a nurse or a paramedic, in the state of Texas. So just to keep it simple, we're going to work with just licensed RNs or paramedics whenever we sign people up to come on board with us to work with our company. Does anybody have any questions about any of that? I know that's kind of a lot. Yeah.
Are we opening up?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sorry. I usually like to get questions as I go, but yeah, I can.
We can pause. That's a good point, because there might be
Yeah,
some.
just in case somebody has something on their mind about anything I said before we kind of throw more information at them. I'm more than happy to answer anything.
Speak up, anybody. If you got a question, just go ahead and unmute yourself and then just ask away.
Okay. Was there? Is there something in the chat? Or
we put it just so everybody
okay.
can see an example of one of the protocols. We just threw one in the
okay,
chat,
perfect.
so y'all can view that when y'all have time.
Awesome. Okay.
So okay.
All right. So no questions. Then yeah, we'll move on to some of the other things that we require. So in Texas, we have a corporate practice of medicine law that essentially is there to prevent non-medical individuals from owning, operating medical facilities and medical care businesses. And like I said earlier, IV therapy is considered a medical procedure, so it would be considered, right, a medical facility or a medical business because you are performing medical care, medical services. So Texas does have that corporate practice of medicine law. So in order to avoid being found guilty of the corporate practice of medicine, there's certain things that we have to do to just avoid those things. One of those is one thing that they look at in previous cases of companies being found guilty of the corporate practice of medicine law is where the money flows. Where's the money flowing from this business? And so one of the things we set up in order to avoid the appearance of the corporate practice of medicine is having an account shared by myself and whoever signs up with our company. So it's a joint bank account, and that is where all of the money flows from the business, from the company. And that is to avoid, if we ever got looked at for whatever reason by the Texas Medical Board or the court system, whoever, if they look at our company and say, okay, well, where's the money going? You know, is it going to the actual physician, right? Or is it going to someone else? So they have found in previous cases that money that didn't flow into the bank account of the physician, right, who's technically the person who is running this company, that was one of the things that they looked at in order to determine if the corporate practice of medicine was taking place. So in order to avoid kind of that, you know, that notch on one of the many things that they look at, we set up a bank account, right, that's shared by myself and you. So that way they can, you know, they can't say, well, the money was flowing to this person, not the physician. And so that means that the physician's not in control of this business if he's not even getting the money from it. So that's why we like to set up a bank account, again, that is shared by myself and you. And then you, as the MSA operator, who, again, that MSA gives you the ability to handle the finances from the company. You spend that money, right, for expenses, your expenses, my expenses. If you have a brick and mortar, you pay the lease fee from that account. Everything comes from that account that is shared by myself and you. So that kind of gets rid of the appearance that, you know, again, we're doing the corporate practice of medicine, which would be a violation of Texas law. So I know it's a kind of a headache, right, to set that up, but again, it's just something that we like to do in order to be compliant with Texas law. We like to keep everybody safe. We like to keep ourselves off the radar of, again, the Texas Medical Board, the Texas Board of Nursing, HHS. I can't remember, Texas Department of Health, whoever works with the paramedics with their license. So we just like to avoid all of that. We like to be compliant with Texas law, just so, again, no one gets in trouble. I mean, they can take my license, they can take your license. A lot of fines if we're in violation of these things. So we want to make sure we're compliant. And that's what we're here for, to help you with those things. Any questions on the corporate practice of medicine law in Texas, or any questions over this bank account, shared bank account issue at all?
One thing I did want to jump in and say, somebody might have a question, but I'll jump in and say this. Most of you probably know this, but some of you may not. So just to kind of reiterate what the doctor just said, but so obviously everybody's got to have an LLC. Okay. And it's very easy to do. Do not do it through another company. We can show you how to do it. it should not be more than $300 to do it yourself. It literally takes 10 minutes. So if you don't have one, even if you're not going to go with this, I'll put my number in the chat. You can text me. I'll send you the video. Very easy to do to get your LLC, then get your EIN number. That's how you open up a business bank account. You got to have a business bank account, because if you ever want to get any type of funding or any type of business benefits in the future, you're going to have that for your business. Very important. Now, if you imagine you got your LLC and you got your bank account over here, it's really not that, it's kind of a process, but it's not that hard to add the doctor to your bank account. Typically you go in, sometimes you can even call. Once you sign up, you get his information from me. I'm going to give it to you to give to your bank. Most times they can do it electronic. Sometimes the doctor might have to go into a local branch to do it and fill out some paperwork. It might have to be notarized. It's a pretty quick process to add them as a signer, something on your account. That's usually the easiest way to do it. It's not adding them to your LLC. It's just putting them on your account. So if you tell them to put them on your LLC, it's going to be a big process. We don't want to do that. It's just adding them to your account to kind of give you, if 4 months down the road, you decide this isn't the right opportunity and you leave, you literally go in and sign another paper to take them off. He doesn't even have to sign that paper. It's your account. You can take them off. So remember that, very easy. Within your business, I'm not going to go off too much on a tangent, but within your business, everything needs to come from that one account. Everything, like Doctor was saying. So that means the fees that you pay to us, your inventory, all of your business expenses. This is very important for tax reasons as well, just to kind of tell you a little bit more. Everything goes out of that business bank account. That's going to just help you, number one, for tracking, which we can show you how to do that. It's very easy. But remember that I know some of you are beginning in this business, or you just started, you're still trying to organize things. That's something that different things that we want to help you with, because we've all been there. We've done multiple businesses. We've gone through this. And so we know the things that are in the beginning, you're by yourself. You're the nurse, you're the marketer, you're the payroll. I mean, you have so many hats you're wearing. So as much as that as you can organize in the beginning, it's just going to make it better and organized for you down the road. So I just want to throw that in there. Just remember, if you don't have a business bank account now, and you don't have an LLC now, those are two things you need to get ASAP. It makes it harder to write things off and to show things about your business when you have things coming from all these random accounts and you're not organized and you don't have a business banking account. Plus, if you ever try to go get anything, any benefits, funding or anything, very hard to do without being able to show that. So I just want to throw that in there, but let's open it up. We still got about just under right around 15 minutes. So if anybody has any questions, like about any of that process or how that works, like speak up, don't be shy. I'm sure somebody else is thinking the same thing. So.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Morning.
My name is Fernando. We work down here, South Texas in the Valley. We just opened up probably 3 months ago. We were partnered with iDrip and we're thinking of doing the switch to Venus. I had just one question. We already set up our LLC and our bank accounts and all that good stuff, but maybe it's not something too meticulous, but do you guys recommend establishing certain titles, I guess, for the people working in the corporation? As I know that since we are not technically allowed to be profiting from the medical procedures, and technically just profiting, from marketing and all that other business aspect, do you recommend that we give ourselves a title, kind of like administration director or something like that along the lines, or just owner? Is that fine for the technical papers of the LLC?
Yeah, so the MSA is going to be an agreement between your LLC. So your LLC is going to be on that MSA agreement. So you don't have to have titles. I mean, it probably wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
I don't know how much it would benefit. I've never gone that much into detail. To be honest, I'm not going to pretend like I know one way or the other. But the agreement is going to be with the LLC company. And so whoever owns that LLC, right, has the ability to hire who they want, right, to do whatever the marketing side of things. I don't have any say of that, because it's your company, right, that's doing all the MSL work. So what you do with that company, right, is your business. So I don't have any say in that side of things.
Okay.
The only say that I have as the physician is right who I hire as a nurse, who I hire as a tech, who I hire as, anybody doing the medical side of things. So I don't think it matters, but again, I'm not 100%, but I don't think it would matter if you had, right, a marketing manager or a payroll manager or, whatever. I think that's probably beneficial for you and for maybe the people that you hire, right? To just so you know who's who.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, I
But
was just going
but
to.
as far as legal stuff, I don't know if that makes a difference.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question regarding that as well. I already have my LLC, and I forgot that name. It's basically the business DBA that is attached to my LLC. It's assumed name certification, something. So you said the LLC has to be on the MSA. Can the DBA be on the MSA? Because I will have multiple businesses attached to my LLC, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, so we'll include both, right? So we'll include the main LLC and then DBA, whatever you want to put for that
Both?
MSA. It'll have both, yeah. So it'll have your main LLC and then the DBA, right? Doing business as this X or Y or whatever.
Because my business is the DBA basically, and the LLC is a different name. That
Right,
doesn't
right. But it's still tied to that LLC though.
affect. It is
Yeah.
attached. I mean, the bank helped me doing it. It's that assumed name certification, something which is the business DBA that where they attach it to the LLC. I got that done. So my business name is basically the same as the DBA, but my LLC is different. It's for the family. I own it, but it's for my husband, myself, and my kids, where we're establishing their business as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So you would have to have both, because the DBA isn't necessarily an LLC, right? Am I right, Brandon? You probably know more about this than I do. The
It's
DBA
not-
is not necessarily an LLC, right? It's just a different.
Want.
Right.
Same thing with your DBA. It can be anything you want. Literally can be totally different, nothing the same. They both have to be on there just because your LLC, that is the actual structure of the business, how your business is structured.
Right.
Your DBA is just what you're calling the business. So yeah,
Okay.
so even though you use it for other things, like you'd still have, like we have to legally have the LLC on the MSA agreement. And
Okay.
then of course, whether you call it, Raina's IVs or whatever you want to call it, like that's going to be on there as well, because that's what you go by.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay, I have another question. I'm gonna be honest, and I don't know how this is gonna sound, but I have, like Fernando said, I'm also from iDrip. I have a Texas chat group for like 17 nurses, and they're all interested. Some of them already canceled the membership, like myself, and some are ready to move and find someone else. So these 16 nurses are interested, but the majority has reached out to me privately about the bank account thing, that it's a red flag. So I talked to a healthcare attorney last night, and she told me, yes, it would be illegal if the doctor does not own it, if you operate and without an MSA and the MSO thing. Even though I know a lot of nurses and 2 NPs who has been doing it without it, with a doctor, but no MSA or MSO, she told me that Texas is a CPOM state, and
Right.
you're liable to do that. And CPOM, they're not going after nurses, but they might in the future. And at that point, you will get caught, basically.
Right.
But I understand like what you explained, but how do I answer this question to the other nurses? And also, I don't feel 100% comfortable, honestly.
With the sharing a bank account?
Yes.
Okay.
How do I answer the question for the other nurses that this is gonna be? I mean, it's gonna be safe. To be honest with you, and don't take me wrong, Doc, but we almost got scammed with the other company. So I personally, like I told Brandon when I talked to him, I have like trust issues now with everybody. I have two other options: one company and one doctor that I reached out to. So I want to make my decision by this weekend, hopefully. So I don't know what other explanation you can give me to convince me, and so I can convince the other nurses as well.
I would just have them do their own research. I mean, it's easy to. I mean, you can do free consults just like you did with an attorney, right? I mean, they're probably a better person to talk to than me, to be honest. Just one, their expertise, they know what they're doing. They can probably give a better explanation. I don't really know more of what to say, right, than I've already said, right? I mean, it's for protection of everybody, for you, for me, and again, just to be compliant with Texas law. So again, I don't know really what else to say to them other than, look into it yourself. So going through medicine, one of the things my attendings always told me was trust nobody, right? If a doctor tells you this is the medication you give for this condition, right? Don't trust him. Look it up yourself. Verify it for yourself. And so I think you can apply that concept here. If I'm saying this, right, you should have a shared bank account with your physician, right, in order to avoid the corporate practice of medicine. Don't trust me, right? You can listen to me, but use that information that I gave you and look it up yourself. Verify it for yourself. And so ways to verify that, I think, would be to, again, just like you did, talk to an attorney. You can look at past cases of the corporate practice of medicine violations with organizations, and you can see what they looked at. You can see all the things that they looked at in order to say, yes, they were practicing the corporate practice of medicine, or no, they weren't because of these things, right? They had an MSA. They the physician had appropriate oversight of the patients, right? But the money was not flowing to the physician, or the money was flowing to the physician, right? His bank account, that kind of thing. So look at past, right, occurrences of violations of the corporate practice of medicine. Talk to an attorney. Those are really the only things that I can tell people to do. I'm here to share information, share what I know, share, right, my recommendations. I don't expect anybody really to take me at 100%. I don't think people should do that. I think people should take the information that I give you, verify it for yourself. If for some reason you're not comfortable, right, there's not a whole lot more I can do. I can't budge, on the things that I'm comfortable doing in order to protect my license. And that's ultimately what I want. I want to keep my license. I want to keep my medical license. I want you to keep your nursing license. So you can make money for your family, support your family. I'm not in the business to be on 50 to 1,000 people's bank accounts so I can have access to it. I don't need it. I don't need y'all's money. I don't want to take y'all's money. I think people that are working hard, earning their money, should keep their money. I don't want your money. I get that there are companies and there are people that are scammers. I don't know what happened with iDrip. What happened, if you don't mind me asking, what happened with them?
You have 1 minute left.
Yeah, I'm going to cut in real quick. So,
Oh, okay, sorry.
yeah, and we'll have more of these if we need to. Raina, what I would tell you to do is I'm going to put the recording in the group. Show them the recording. Dr. Drollinger is very open. Like everybody that's been a part of our program, the first thing he does is a welcome call. He gives them his cell phone because he wants that kind of a relationship with our clients. And so very open and honest about everything. What I would say, and I back what Dr. Jolinger said 100%, like we're going to do it the right way. And we got to realize what the limitations are for nurses in Texas and how we know that most places are doing this incorrectly. That's why we're doing it the correct way. And it's going to seem harder, different to people who've never done it. So I would just encourage you, show them this, take my number that I put in the chat, which you already have it, and then just tell them to reach out with direct questions. We'd love to help them or just answer questions. So
Thank you. Okay, before we cut off, if we don't have time to answer, we can reach out later. But I have a nurse interested in just aesthetics. Would you guys provide that? Would it be a cheaper monthly fee, or it would be the same? She doesn't want to do IV hydration, just aesthetics.